Good evening and welcome to the last session of the 10th Annual Regulators and Policymakers Retreat, which is being organized by the Independent Power Producers Association of India and Aviation Watch. With me is Mr. Rajesh Awasthi, Chairman of the UPERC. Welcome to the show, Mr. Awasthi.
Thank you.
So we'd like to know, given your long innings at NTPC and now you're currently Chairman of the UPERC, how has the shift been from NTPC to UPERC, the different roles that are involved?
Yeah, there's a difference in the both roles because the NTPC it is basically the generating company of a central utility, and the regulatory commission is something different, which is looking into the acts and the disputes between the licensees and the generating companies. So it's quite a difference from my NTPC roles.
What sort of advantages do you bring to the table given the fact that you are actually part of NTPC, one of the largest power generators in India?
Well, one advantage is that I'm having the power background of a long years, and the issues involved are basically regarding generating companies and the licensees. So it is a similar field when it comes to taking into consideration the issues involved. So I don't find much difficulty in that.
Right. So the UP government recently came out with a white paper explaining the lack of capacity, present capacity, and explaining that this was a result of the problem of past few years where additional capacity was not created.
That's true because as you must have read it in that white paper, for the last 13 or 14 years there had been only an addition of 420 megawatts, and coupled with that, of course, is the fact that there's no capacity addition as it is over these years, and the share from the central unallocated quota, the state has been trying for quite some time to get some part of it, because even the Gadgil formula on which basis the share allocation is given, that is quite old and it needs a relook, because it was based on the economic consideration of the state. And if my personal opinion, if you see that it is like a vicious cycle. If you don't give power, and industries will not come up, and if the industries don't come up, the state will not be able to give better economic results on which the Gadgil formula is based. So we have been trying for that enhancement in the share of the central allocation. That would help. But there are some projects which now the government has already, which are in the state, which are in the process of completion, like Reliance Rosa Power Station, that is coming up. Then there's Anpara D of Lanco, which is coming up. And also they have signed some, they have in fact awarded to JP Construction in Bara and Karchana, which of course will not come in the 11th plan, it will come beyond that. But still a beginning has been made. Then the UP Power Corporation Limited is also searching for almost around 2,000 megawatts of power for purchase from other places. So that may help.
So, given this fact that UP needs to add a generation capacity at a furious clip in the next few years to meet its demand, do you think that the open access, provision of open access can send out the right price signals to foreign investors and to private companies to come and invest in a bigger way?
Yeah, that is true. And Chairman UPPCL, UP Power Corporation, is already in the process of discussions with many of the entrepreneurs. And open access, we have given the go-ahead for it. It is now for the parties who will opt for it.
Right. So given the fact that gas is now landing on the Andhra coast, and AP itself will be, Andhra Pradesh itself will be using these gas supplies for power generation, the fact that because UP is deficient in coal, the other major fuel that is used for example, in NTPC plants, can gas be used in a major way to set up power plants in the Uttar Pradesh region?
Definitely, gas can help. If you might be knowing that the Dadri project of Reliance, which is on hold at the moment because of the High Court squabble between them. So once that comes through, I think there will be 4,000 megawatts will be a boost to this state.
Right. So, but even other than this particular power plant, is UP going in for gas pipelines and networks of gas pipelines in a big way to boost industry and power generation?
Not at the moment. There's nothing in the pipeline so far.
Right, sir.
But they'll have to think in this direction.
Right, sir.
As we are seeing in the convention also, that gas is going to be a major fuel for future plants.
Absolutely. So what will the role of nuclear power be in the years to come for UP?
Nuclear powers, of course, people are thinking on it, and even NTPC is now going for it, but it will take some time to come.
Right.
Because there are a lot of issues involved in that, the security issues, etc., which the government has to look into.
Right. So, in the terms of merit order dispatch, once these nuclear power plants come up, what can the plan be to schedule it in such a way that nuclear power is incentivized commercially?
In the initial stage, yes, we may be required to give some incentives for this. But I think once the nuclear power comes, there will be big players who will be ready to establish them. They may not need such support, unlike in the renewables, where we require that solar and wind, they require some support.